Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our Ask a Professional series. My name is Ryan Abrebsky, and I am from EasyLiving. We're a home care and care management agency that's been serving the Tri-County area for over 20 years. I'm joined today by Bernadette Homan. She is from Arden Courts. Hi, Bernadette. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. So, Bernadette, tell us a little about yourself and Arden Courts and exactly what you guys do.
Okay, well, my name is Bernadette Homan. I am the Business Development Specialist for Arden Courts of Largo and Seminole. I've actually been with the company almost 18 years. I started November 1st, 2001. So November 1st will be 18 years.
Awesome.
Out of those 18 years, the company has been around, our company has been here over 21 years here in Pinellas County. And the company as a whole has been around over 25 years. So that's really, really unusual for somebody to be in the company that long, especially in my position. So I'm honored to work for a company that is well, what they do well with residents with dementia.
So that's what you guys specialize in. So you guys are what we call like a memory care unit, right?
We're strictly Alzheimer's and other related dementia assisted living. So we do have a part of the company that has other components like skilled nursing and other services throughout the country. But Arden Courts was built and designed specifically for persons with memory loss.
Okay. So yeah, so I think people want to know like what's the difference or what qualifies someone to maybe need a memory care type facility, or what's the biggest difference between a memory care facility and an assisted living facility?
The difference is I think the biggest difference is programming, is having specialty programming geared towards persons that have memory problems. When they're in an assisted living with folks that don't have memory problems, sometimes the two don't mesh together. So by design, and not only the programming, but our design of our building, it's geared towards the residents being able to be successful. So the design is so that they can find their way, color coding. The purpose of the design of our buildings is to be more home-like, so it doesn't feel like they're in a community. They can have access to the outside. So I think that's what makes us a little unique than some of the other assisted livings that are out there. Our company has specialized programs geared towards a different level of functioning. So I think that's what's different than an assisted living, is that we try to meet the needs of the residents at the different stages of the disease process. And in a regular assisted living, they don't always have that opportunity to do that.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. You guys, I've seen your facilities before, and they're very, very homey, and it definitely seems like you're just in a neighborhood, and it's very well designed. I think what you explained to me, excuse me, one time was how everything circles back. They can never really get themselves lost or stuck in an area where they can feel like they're trapped in some fashion.
Right. There are 12 different doors, so they have access. So when somebody is wandering, or if they're looking to go home, you can guide them out and say, you can go point them to the door that leads out to the courtyard, but every courtyard, every door leads to the path that will bring them back, so they'll never really get lost. And then what's really neat, other residents and staff, even if it's not from their house, will guide them back to their actual house if they need help or finding their room, or what they call an apartment. But they each have their own room, and they can find their way by having different cueing. So by design, it's the cues that are helping them to get into that repetition of finding their way. But I just love how the residents together help each other, even at the different levels. And I think that's really special.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely, it's so interesting to see all the little different cues and color coding and stuff like that, and how it guides them. And it's just interesting how the brain works, even when it's functioning with some sort of like Alzheimer or dementia type disease.
Right.
So are there anything you guys are doing? I know everything right now, as far as like the pandemic with COVID-19, is there anything that what are you guys doing to kind of, I know the biggest concern is our senior living facilities and stuff like that. So is there anything specific that you guys are doing or want to talk about that you guys are doing to protect your residents and families and staff?
Yes, I'm very proud of what we've been doing, and I'm proud to work for a company that has gives us the support and sort of the programs and stuff that we need to be able to stay ahead of it. One of the biggest things I appreciate is our being upfront and open with everybody. So with regards to what we're doing is everyone that enters the building has to have their mask, wash their hands, answer a series of questions. If they've been in the community or been in front of anybody that has been diagnosed with the COVID-19, then we're asking them not to come into the building. After they wash their hands, we're taking their temperatures, bringing them back. They have to wear their mask, and then they also were requesting either a shield or eye glasses like mine.
There you go.
You know, even though, you know, even if just a tier 1, you know, and as we progress to tier 2 and 3, then we have protocols in place for that as well. What is really neat is that with the dementia, our residents, you can't keep them isolated in their room. So we are doing programming. Instead of everybody meeting together, we're making them into segmented parts so that they're doing activities on the houses. The residents that are rotating who goes to the studio, who goes to the community center, sitting 6 feet apart, making sure that we're taking their temperatures twice a day, checking their pulse ox, watching for signs and symptoms of any COVID. Fortunately, right at this moment, we are clear of all of our buildings here in the Pinellas area are COVID-free for the residents, and staffing is getting their testing every 2 weeks, started last week from the state of Florida. Our staff, as soon as they are even have a bellyache or something, if they have any symptoms, we're telling them, stay home, don't even come in and get a test, and we'll make sure that you don't have COVID-19. So.
Yeah.
In regards to the programming, our residents, we are marking off where the chair sits. So you know how residents with dementia like to move things. We're making sure that the chairs and everything is back where it's supposed to be, so that we are making sure we stick with that program. What's neat is that we are having our residents do programming. So keeping their routine in place is very important, and we've been able to manage that so far. What's nice is that we're able to offer families FaceTime, telephone calls, window visits, so that they can stay still connected, just can't be in the building. During a resident that has the final stages of their disease, if they're end stage and they're imminent, we are allowing the families to come in to visit their loved one through that dying process, and we are having strict protocol for them, where they come in, they do the normal testing like we do, we escort them to the resident room, and they're to stay in that room. If they need to leave, then we're asking them to have somebody escort them back out the building. We have to make sure that they are not exposed to residents, just to be safe, because we don't know where people have been. You know, you go to the grocery store, you go to the bank, you go to the post office, wherever. It's everywhere. So the more diligent we can be, the more we're going to keep this out of the building. So.
Absolutely. And I don't think people realize the challenges that, you know, a building like a memory care has with people with, you know, Alzheimer's and dementia related diseases, and what the challenge is to keep them isolated. So I think that's great that you brought that up and spoke about that, because that's one thing I think people don't realize is what's going on internally in the buildings. I know it's been a struggle for everyone, but I think even more with who you guys are typically dealing with as far as your patients, they don't necessarily understand what they need to do to keep themselves safe and distant. So
right. And what we're also doing is we're making sure that the staff that are assigned to the different houses, that they stay generally in those houses and not go house to house. Again, limiting the risk of exposure from traveling, that if by chance anybody does get it, that it's being contained. So that's the beauty of our, you know, working for our company, is that they thought of everything, and then as things happen, they share things with us to say, okay, we're going to tweak it this way. This is what we need. And with dementia, it's hard. You know, we've had questions that say, well, what are you doing about wandering residents? Well, because if you're doing engagement programming on each house and has separate programs in the different segregated areas, the residents that like to do the wandering, they're less likely to be in front of another resident, so keeping that social distance. And our staff are doing their hourly and 15-minute checks out in the courtyard, so we're making sure that they're staying socially distanced, that they're safe. But the importance is of being able to still have that access outside that we can still offer them. And that's the beauty about our design of our building.
Absolutely. Well, Bernadette, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate all the insight on how Arden Courts is really stepping up and making sure that the residents are staying safe and you guys are dealing this and handling with this pandemic. And it's really great to know what the difference is between the memory cares and assisted living. So as always, we'll put Arden Courts contact information below in our comment section. So you can contact them, or you can always reach out to us at EasyLiving. We'll always be happy to refer over to Arden Courts and make sure that they get that referral if necessary. So Bernadette, thank you again for joining. I really appreciate your insight and your experience on what you guys are doing. And thank you for all the sacrifices you and your team are making to keep your residents safe.
Thank you very much. And I forgot to mention that we do have 4 Arden Courts in this area here of the Pinellas County, and we have over 54 Arden Courts throughout the country. So if a family is looking for placement, if they call me or any Arden Courts and they live in a different area, we can help guide them where there might be one by them. So
awesome. Good to know. Good to know. Thank you so much again, Bernadette. And thank you everyone else for joining, and I hope everyone has a great day.